Okay, we're doing part 2 of the microscope lab. We're going to look at a little bug, really, is that if you look at the lab that you've got the copy of, is that what it tells you is to get a slide with a whole preserved insect or crustacean. This is preserved, stained so that the light doesn't come through it too much, and put on a slide permanently. And I clean the slide off, which is what you're supposed to do. I'm putting it into the little bracket. Now I know where the little critter is, so I'm moving it until it comes into the light. There it is, coming into the light. It is a fruit fly. There's the head, so it's kind of upside down. And let's see. And there it is in focus. This is the focus at low power. Now, the question you're going to have is, what's compared to the other powers, what's good about low power, what's not so good? What's good about middle power, what's not so good? What's good about high power, what's not so good? Now, I'll tell you a secret. The only purpose that this particular part serves on this lab is to force you to take some time and figure out how the heck to get this thing to work at those powers. Because whatever you give me as answers really isn't that important. I figure you're not giving me any answers unless you got something in focus. So all I'm gonna do is get this in focus at the 3 powers, and you can come up with a strength and a weakness for each power. And unfortunately, you don't get to actually work the microscope to do it. But this is low power. This is middle power. We'll stick with the head. You can see that those are the bristles on the head. That's the eye. We're getting some of this in focus. But you have to play with it in order to see different parts. I'm going to move it over a little bit. Whoops. It doesn't jump like this when you're actually looking through the scope. It's a much more smooth transition. The head's slightly tilted, so I had to focus, so this goes out of focus in order to get this part of the mouth parts in focus. And then if I focus back the other way, I can go back and get the sides of the head in focus. So this was middle power. This is 10x. The lens is 10. The upper lens is 10, so it's really a total magnification of 100. So now we're going to go to high power, so I'm going to watch the lens go into place. This is a pretty thick prep to get a whole animal under here, so I got to be really careful I don't hit anything. But it goes in. And here we are, looking at the middle of the head. I'm going to actually look through the scope here, see if I can't figure out what I'm looking at. So we've got some of the bristles on the head. It's actually more in focus looking through the microscope than it is projected up on the screen. This big dark thing is the eye. And here you can actually see some of the inner structure of the eye lens is pointed in this direction. So you can see some things that were not necessarily that obvious at the lower powers. Hint, hint, hint. But that mouth part is so tilted off that it's not even noticeable that it's there. So this is focus at, I'm not sure why it's doing that, at high power, then it was before that, and middle power before that, and low power. And that really is all part 2 needs. So we're going to stop this for part 2.
Oh, stop?